Our next presenter is an agripreneur who has passion to see many farmers empowered. To increase that productivity, he would like to also acquire equipment for mechanization. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, he is here today. Simon Peter Aruho from Umoja Farm.
Hello, good afternoon, people. I'm Simon Peter Aruho from Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Simon Peter Aruho from Umoja Farm. I'm the founder and CEO. You forgive me, I couldn't come with my product. Unlike Mr. Deo, I couldn't carry a tractor on my head. So, believe it or not, agriculture is the backbone of Uganda's economy. But if you go on ground, you find out that to every district, there are about 1 or 2 tractors, which can't meet the demand of the farmers. So most farmers go seasons without plowing. And most farmers are still using traditional methods of farming, which is not right in this day and age. So with that, I saw an opportunity and a problem at the same time. I realized, as a person, I wanted to help farmers meet their potential, where a farmer would be able to increase his output per season if he does farming in an agronomical way. And that's by using a tractor to plow, to harrow, and using a tractor to plant. Because when it's planting, it will plant with fertilizer, which will increase your yield per acre, which would be increase your yield from like 900 kilograms to about 3.5 tons per acre. So with that, I saw there is a genuine shortage of mechanized equipment in the area. And what I was providing wouldn't meet the target, because out of 1,000 farmers, if I was meeting only 30%, that means I was doing about 300 acres only. It was about 1,000 acres. And that would have been a revenue of 140 million per season. So I said, this is an opportunity. Then I also realized, so dairy farmers are complaining during the drought. Their cows are dying because they have no pastures. I went into pasture farming and management. And with pastures, I realized you could help farmers increase their productivity by 50%. Because the pastures are nutritious and they improved. And your yield per liter of thing will increase generally with animals, all animals. Third, I went into offering trainings and consultancies to farmers who need to be taught new things, new methods of farming. So those are the specific fields that I said, let me help people. Because as Umoja Farm, we are into mechanization, we're into pasture and management, we're into coffee farming, we're into training and consultancies, and that's mainly what we do at Umoja Farm. So I said, yes, we're doing all that, but let me concentrate on 2 products to offer to farmers. That is mechanization and equipment hire, and pasture farming and management. So under mechanization, I offer the farmers plowing at 140,000 per acre. Under pasture, that is hay for sale and seed multiplication, I offer 8 kilo. If you start on grass at 700 shillings, if they're combined, that's the carbohydrate and a protein at 1,000 shillings. Yeah. So my deal is mainly mechanization and pastures. In the market, I realized we are able to supply, in pastures, able to supply 2,000 bales per season. That's about 40,000 kilos of grass. But the market demand is over 5,000 bales per season. Those are about 100,000 kilos that farmers need. And in tractor services, I realized that the demand is over 1,000 acres per season. And we're barely meeting that. We're meeting about 20% to 30%. So we're leaving a lot of revenue on the table. And I said, okay, let me work on that. In terms of value, when a farmer uses mechanization, his time is efficient and time saving, because a farmer, all he has to do is pay the money and he goes away. He goes to do something else. So you help save a farmer about 90% of his time. So when his time is saved, he has time to go and do another economic activity which can help him increase his livelihood. In terms of acre. And in terms of the nutritious pastures are offering, since they're improved, a farmer, especially dairy farmers, will increase their yield by 50%. So if your cows give you 10 liters and you're feeding them these pastures, your yield will increase to about 20 liters per day. And if you top that off with concentrates, it will go higher. So, in my region, I'm the only one supplying pastures, improved pastures in my region. So, I'm basically a monopoly. I've been in pastures for about 5 years now, so I have wide experience because I plant a variety of pastures. From the carbohydrates, to the trees, to the legumes, I have that already established, about 20 acres. In terms of the finances, I am looking at land preparation equipment, which is about $40,000. I'm looking at post-harvest equipment, which is $25,000. So in total, that's $65,000, which is about 250 million in Uganda shillings. So this is going to help me purchase a tractor, a plow, a harrower, a baler, and a slasher. So that is my ask.
Thank you very much, Mr. Aruho Simon Peter of Umoja Farm. Do we have any questions for Umoja Farm? Questions, queries? Okay, we have a question. Let's just take about 2 questions and then I'll move over swiftly.
Thank you very much, Simon. Now, about the mechanized agriculture in this region, have you considered the element of the terrain being so hilly that sometimes some areas are not easily accessible by tractors? Have you considered using smaller equipment, smaller machines, which are maybe hand-driven, because those can manage the terrain other than having a tractor which cannot manage these some hilly areas or some big valleys? So have you considered some of that? Now, on the issue of pasture and training, I think I'm taking on something too much. Why don't you focus on one thing, then try to start? Thank you.
On the question about the hilly terrain, most times I avoid that because it leads to the wear and tear. It exceeds your profit. You go to dig 1 acre on a hilly area, you're going to buy bearings. And in plow, there are 8 bearings. So if you break all of them, that's about 600,000. So usually the high terrains, I avoid. And then on the question of taking up too much, that's why I decided to concentrate on 2 things. The trainings are optional because it's not like have a contract. If the contract, I'll take it on. But it's usually someone who comes to you and says, I've seen this, can you train me in this? And I take that up. But I mainly concentrate on 2 things, mechanization and pastures.
Thank you very much. There are some other questions from Centenary and from PSFU. So let's go in that order, and then
thank you, Umoja, for your presentation. Of course, as a financier on that side, we are very much interested in partnering with most of you, and I have delayed special interest in your kind of work. However, I would like you to throw more light. Like he has said, the previous speaker, the hilly aspect comes into play, but you also realize that most of the farmers in the area of your operations are smallholder farmers. They hold small pockets of land, which would not need mechanization. And I remember in his presentation to you, he said, wouldn't you consider other means of supporting these farmers other than mechanization using tractors, considering the hilly aspect and also the smallholder aspect?
Now, in that time, I was putting that into future because I'm considering also getting the handheld hoe to help them, especially the ones who are below half an acre.
Okay. We have another question from PSFU.
Actually, picking it from there, because when we talk about the small enterprises and the farmers, how do you interface in terms of the legumes and the foods, especially with the smallholder farmers? Because we are looking at that one to be the most, the way to go. They don't have land. When you talk about mechanization, they are out. So, to me, I'm looking at improving the productivity of the small farmer. And others have, especially zero grazing. How do you support these ones?
Okay. Usually, when I'm in the field with a tractor, because I manage it, you can't just leave it anyone, you make losses. Usually when I'm in the field with the farmers, and I meet someone who is zero grazing in his small shamba, I start talking to him. I tell him, you know, there is this, do you know there is this, do you know there is this? If not, you can come to my farm and have a tour around. I show you the different types of grasses, and also it's a potential for me to market to him, and he comes to buy my grasses. So I usually I go out of my way to educate them on how he can improve his productivity. So I usually go out of my way to educate them.
Okay. Okay.
One actually wanted to begin with Umoja. Where are you located?
I'm in Isinjiro district. To be specific, Isinjiro West, just a newly created constituency, at a place called Ruborogota.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other and last question is, I would have loved if you would have talked about productivity also of animals when you change legumes and increase on their feeds and change. How much litters do you get from a cow? How does it change in terms of your income?
Okay. Now, when a cow is fed normally in paddocks, its productivity is going to be low cost first. There will be ticks affecting it. And the more a cow walks to feed, the more energy that will be used to produce milk is spent walking. That's why they tell you, put cows in one paddock, apportion water to them, so they don't have to move looking for the water. Because if a cow walks for a mile to drink water and come back, by the time it reaches here, it's thirsty. So in terms of productivity, if you give your cow, especially dried grass, like hay, Chloris Guyana, or dried Brochalia mulatto with lablab and miguna, trust me, within a week, you'll see the difference yourself. Because if a cow has been giving you 5 liters while walking, within a week, it will give you 10. And after another week, it will keep increasing until it reaches a point where it can't, because it's of its breed. But the yield usually goes up by 50% when you use improved grasses. And if you also use concentrates, you're going to enjoy it. But the only problem is you have to do things in an economic sense. There's no use of making silage to feed the cow if the price of milk is 200 shillings or 300. So that's when I would tell you, rather use hay, because hay is cheap. Because per acre, if you're of hay, from 1 acre of Chloris Guyana, you get about 150 bales. 150 bales, if you're using a baler, you are sure that each bale is about 24 to 25 kgs. So that one bale can feed a cow the whole day, and some will even remain. And that is cheaper than using silage, depending on the price of milk.
Okay. Ms. Winnie, you had a question?
Thank you so much. I just wanted to know, your module seems to work well if you're well grounded. Have you set up some sort of clusters around the farmer groups you're using, and how are you trying to bring them up to speed with a number of best practices in the agricultural sector?
Now, that's what I'm getting into. I'm trying to make connections with partner organizations so that they can make my farm a demonstration farm, so they can help farmers come, train them, and teach them the new methods. But right now, it's a bit hard because of the farmer's mentality. The farmer who has been in cows, let's say, for generations, he looks at you like, you just come from Kampala, you think you know better than me? You get that? So that's the mentality they have. So it's hard.
I think as UIA, would like to partner with you in terms of cluster development along the value and supply chains. So that is something that we can discuss.
And also, thank you very much, first of all. Also, I think private sector foundation has come in to help us. They're doing the project of bull fattening. So they're setting up a demonstration farm in our area. So it's helping the farmers come together as a cluster. That's one of them.
Wonderful. I'd like to recognize the presence of Honorable Joseph Musirikari, who has been very, very pivotal in helping young people in this area understand what entrepreneurship is all about and supporting them in any way possible. He also happens to have a question. So.
People are asking, seated, but I beg to stand. Thank you so much, Bwana Moreta. I'm sorry I came in late, but I managed to pick something, and my inquiry is, when it talks about pastures, I would like to know if his pastures are really different from what we have here, for example, in Port City or in Toro. And if not, are you also into consultants or in mobilizing farmer groups or institutions in terms of teaching on the improvement of these pastures, the available pastures, and might be consolidating them onto the use? Because what we have here is the pastures are available, but the use. For example, when you talk of legumes, you talk of the carbohydrates, you talk of the proteins, our farmers might not have the knowledge. Are you also, as Umoja, into that gospel of teaching and preaching on the use of the pastures, the availability of the available pastures? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you. When I left Kampala and went to the village, I joined a youth group. And that's how I got into pastures. We met with people from the district and OWC, they talked to us, and the youth started doing pastures, trainings and teachings. But as Umoja, I do that. I offer trainings, you can come to my farm, spend 5 days, I train you, or you can invite me to your farm. You say you want to go into dairy production. Come to your farm, we come up with a plan, what you want, then I establish it for you and hand over after a season.
Okay.
There are two. I do trainings at my farm on field, and then if you as a person want to establish your garden, I come and do it for you after a season, handover and at a cost, obviously. So if you want to come to mine for the infield, if you want to come to the infield, it's 350,000 for 5 days.
Okay, thank you very much.
If you want the other, that's when you sit down and we negotiate.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So now we've had expression of interest from UIA, who will partner with you in clustering the farmers. I'd also like to announce I've been informed that Mercy Corps Kenya has also expressed interest in partnering with you. Let's give a hand of applause. Are there any other investors that would like to partner with Umoja Farm? Okay. KRC has also expressed interest in partnering. Were you expressing interest or you have a question?
I'm expressing interest because as KRC, we are accepting that the biorefinery, we have been in the testing phase for the last 3 years, and we are about to take off. And the biorefinery is specifically extracting protein from grass. So if you are already into pasture growing, definitely we are going to need a lot of pasture to have our machinery run for at economic level. So we shall be happy to have a proper.
Thank you very much. A hand of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Umoja Farm. Is Centenary expressing interest? Yes. Centenary has expressed interest as well. Another hand of applause. Financing, asset financing. All right, thank you very much. I think we are moving in the right direction.